Hey y'all, and welcome back. Today we will be reviewing another slapped ham video titled "This Creepy Footage Will Leave You Questioning Reality Itself." I haven't questioned reality in a long time, so let's see what's going on in this video, shall we?
A TikTok clip posted by AC_Toscano has left viewers divided after capturing what some believe to be a paranormal pet. The Ring camera footage, recorded just after midnight, begins with a glowing orb drifting across the front yard. As the light vanishes behind the post, a ghostly dog-like figure suddenly appears from the darkness. The unexpected appearance startled the homeowners, who admitted they couldn't get back to sleep after reviewing the footage. Online reactions were mixed. Some were convinced the figure was the spirit of a dog, while others suggested it was nothing more than a perfectly timed glitch in the recording. So, was this a beloved pet making a spectral return? For the homeowners, the night ended sleeplessly, haunted by the image of a phantom dog pacing their yard.
Now, I'll be honest with y'all. I'd have to take a little bit of time myself to review this if this personally happened to me. But, taking in consideration that it is after midnight that this happened, and, basically low lighting, and a lot of times the quality of some of these like Ring doorbells aren't as great as, say, like maybe a Sony hand cam that's about $1,000, or higher quality imaging, I should say. It's gonna have that kind of low quality resolution, not quite like a CCT camera will, but it still has a little bit more low quality. So I would honestly, if I did see this, I would have kind of got a little wait, what's going on? Why is this happening? I would have probably stayed up a little bit longer to review it several times myself. But the glowing orb, as they called it, I believe that was probably more than likely the eye shine of the dog as it was running through, and it just really wasn't captured quite as perfectly as like the still surroundings of the person's home, like the front yard, the cars outside and things like that. All those aren't moving like an animal is. And with, low quality cameras or, video equipment in general, you're going to see more of like the orb, as they called it. That's more of the dog's eye shine, because if y'all saw how it was, especially the height of that dog, that would have been where his eyes would have been. So he's running across, and still he was able to be seen when it was closer, more towards the center of where I would say that person's door probably is. So therefore where the Ring camera would have been. And that's why you kind of got more of a ghostly image of this dog. So all in all, this was probably just some neighborhood dog that was running across on a midnight stroll. His image, of course, wasn't picked up until he got closer to the camera, and it still looked a little ghostly because he's running, like dogs normally do. He's running, he's moving, and that's the only reason it caught up as a ghostly image. And like I said before, he wasn't in the camera's frame very well, and he was quick, so the only thing they could really capture was at the beginning, which they called the orb, was his eye shine more than anything. So let's move on to the next one and see what's going on in that one, shall we?
A chilling video uploaded to TikTok by the Paraworld has sparked debate online. The footage, captured on a Ring doorbell camera, shows a strange ghostly figure drifting away from the doorway. As it moves further into the yard, the shape gradually fades until it disappears completely. At Adding to the eerie atmosphere, the homeowner supposedly woke up at exactly 3:33 a.m. with a sudden urge to check the camera, only to be met with this unsettling sight. While the video appears otherworldly at first glance, one viewer suggested that it might be a hoax, created by mashing two separate clips together. So we'll throw this one over to you, the viewer, for final judgment. Is this a spectral visitor vanishing into the night, or is there another way to explain what we are seeing? Let me know down below.
Now with this one, it is an interesting proposition that somebody did put up where you can mash two video segments together, and that possibly was the case of what's going on here. I'm going to actually try to attempt to do that with a couple of random video clips that are actually from this video, and we can see ourselves to see what exactly happens with that. I'm going to pop that up right here.
Until it disappears completely.
Now, I didn't really go into full editing mode when doing this, because I could have adjusted the opacity a little bit more, but y'all can see it, right? Y'all can see the added other clip that is overlaid on top of this one, very faintly, but y'all see it, right? But so this is what they were getting at, that they meshed or mashed together another video with another video, simply put. So I'm showing you that it can be done. So, you know, like I say, there's a lot of things that the power of the internet, I'm telling y'all, it can make a person who ain't never had any sort of professional training in editing and things like that, it makes them a little bit more, you know, masterful at the thing just by simply looking up YouTube videos. Personally, I had never ever tried anything like this. This is the first time I've did it, and as y'all can see, there's a little bit of something in there, and you can see how easy this type of thing can be to manipulate. And so now that I've shown y'all that, let's move on to the next one, okay?
And she bent your roof.
A bizarre and unsettling encounter uploaded to TikTok by Sexy Nico has left viewers both horrified and unnerved.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. We have to move because of this.
According to the post, the group arrived at a campsite late at night. Suddenly, one of the campers started honking the car horn. At first, everyone assumed she was joking, but when they turned to look, they saw something straight out of a horror film.
That's hilarious.
Perched on the roof of the car was a woman, disheveled and silent. Things quickly escalated when the woman began whispering, "Give me the kids," despite there being no children present. Moments later, she started jumping on the car roof, shrieking into the night.
That's hilarious.
When the poster approached to defuse the situation, the woman hissed, lunged forward, and belly flopped to the ground before bolting into the dark woods.
We have to move because of this.
The group abandoned the site immediately and relocated to another area, unwilling to risk a repeat encounter.
Yeah, hard time. And she bent your roof.
Viewers have compared the incident to something out of the Blair Witch Project or a demonic possession scene, calling it the stuff of camping nightmares.
That's hilarious.
One viewer thought that the incident might have been staged or part of a prank. However, the way the woman leaps from the car and crash lands on the ground seems very real. Whether the woman was suffering from a breakdown, drugs, or something far stranger, one thing's certain: this creepy campsite incident isn't one they'll forget anytime soon.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. We have to move because of this.
I honestly really don't have much to say about this one. Just that y'all remember the DARE program back in the day with the schools and everything? DARE program. DARE. Y'all remember it, right? I also remember McGruff the dog. Well, yeah. I don't know if they have stuff like that for kids nowadays, but just show them this clip right here and explain to them what could possibly happen if you just don't say no. All right, that's all I'm gonna say about that, and let's continue on, shall we?
An oddly unsettling video shared by the Mirror's Facebook page has gone viral after capturing something strange. The short clip shows an amusement park visitor strapped into a high-speed ride when suddenly their wig flies off. The hairpiece whirls through the air, twisting and flapping before landing in front of several shocked bystanders. One viewer joked that the airborne wig looked like a Dementor heading to Hogwarts, comparing the swirling black shape to the ghostly figures from Harry Potter. Another thought that those watching must have initially thought that someone's head had flown off. Luckily, it was just the wig, still a rather hair-raising experience. Now, back to the ghosties.
I guess the saying, keep your hands and feet inside the car at all times when it comes to those roller coaster rides needs to be changed to also keeping your wig on your head. I'm sorry, but I guess I needed that little bit of a laugh. I hope y'all enjoyed this little laugh too. This just randomly popped up within this video, so it was a good laugh, and you know what? I still can't finish. Anyway, y'all, please, if you're going on a roller coaster ride, do make sure that y'all keep everything that could possibly fly off either on the ground with somebody who don't like roller coaster rides, or just ensure you have everything on you as tight as possible. I'll just leave it at that. Let's go on to the next one.
A chilling video uploaded to TikTok by Dark Side of the Moon 83 has left viewers questioning what they're seeing. According to the post, the footage comes from the uploader's Ring security camera, which monitors their front yard. In the clip, a ghostly semi-transparent shape suddenly races down the driveway and disappears out the front gate. The movement is fast and fluid, too quick for a person walking, and the figure appears to lack any clear facial features or solid form. Commenters have been quick to share their theories. Some believe the footage shows a spirit or residual energy passing through the property, while others argue it's a trick of light, a bug close to the camera, or even a glitch in the recording. Whatever the explanation, this eerie clip has quickly become another unsettling entry in the growing collection of strange moments caught on home security cameras.
Now, this one I had to watch a couple of times just simply because I wanted to get more detail from the video itself. And, you know, when it comes to what they were talking about in terms of a trick of the light, a bug or a glitch in the camera, or it being a spirit, I will have to go and say it's going to be a trick of the light. Y'all notice how convenient it was that when you pay attention over onto the left hand side of the video screen, there is a car that is turning within that time frame, just maybe a couple of seconds after the fact. So I don't know exactly how this road is set up, but if I see a car turning, there's a turn somewhere there, and it looked like it was coming from the person's garage. So therefore, a lot of times garages are more of the especially the doors and everything like that. You don't see too many of them having that wood panel. There's a few of them that have something like that, those ornate wood panel garage doors, and very pricey anyway. But no, most of the time y'all see more metal, right? So therefore metal will shine. And if you take into consideration other parts of the video, y'all see that it probably more than likely recently rained or is still raining. The ground is wet and moist. Y'all see that. So therefore there's going to be moisture in the air, and it could be like water vapor that's hanging around in the air itself that would cause little glints and stuff in the light and everything like that. Y'all seen how a halo effect happens around sodium lights and everything like that. When you're going down the road, you see that kind of halo effect. Same thing with the red lights and stuff like that. So you have that, and also consideration, it is fall. So you're not going to have a lot of foliage coverage that will keep kind of mute the lights and mute a few other things because of the foliage and everything. So that car turning, you got water vapor in the air, which can also create kind of like a halo like fog like effect. And the car, like I say, the car turning, and you got a garage door right there for the with the driveway. You create an excellent case of where a trick of the light, where the light from the car turning will bounce off of part of the metal and reflect onto the water vapor, and it's going to look like it's something that's a ghostly apparition or a fog, a mist, whatever you want to call it, running down that driveway. Simple as that. It took some time for me to take a look and go into all of this right here, but if y'all look at it and put into perspective what I've just said, y'all would see what I'm talking about too. So I say more of a trick of the light than anything paranormal with this. So let's continue on to the next one and see what we got.
A recent claim has reignited one of science fiction's oldest fascinations, that extraterrestrials may have tampered with human DNA. Dr. Max Rempel, founder of the DNA Resonance Research Foundation, says his team has found genetic sequences in human families that don't match either parent, and he speculates they could be of non-earthly origin. According to Rempel, his team examined DNA from the 1000 Genomes Project, a major public database of family trios, and identified unusual sequences in 11 families out of 581. In each case, fragments appeared that did not trace back to either parent, amounting to more than 300 unexplained variants. Because the children were born long before gene editing tools like CRISPR, he argues that these anomalies can't easily be explained by human intervention. Rempel also claims to have seen similar patterns in consumer DNA tests submitted by people who believe they've experienced alien abductions. He speculates that the mysterious sequences could affect traits such as perception or cognition, even hinting at links to neurodivergent conditions, but stresses that these are early, unconfirmed ideas. Experts caution that the data have not undergone peer review and that the evidence remains circumstantial. Genetic mismatches can result from sequencing errors, contamination, or limitations in genotyping arrays. With only 11 families showing anomalies, the sample size is small, and adding self-identified abductees introduces strong selection bias. Most importantly, extraordinary claims demand extraordinary proof. Before invoking extraterrestrial origins, researchers would need to rule out far simpler explanations such as rare natural mutations or database artifacts. Rempel's theory echoes past sensational stories that didn't withstand scrutiny, from the infamous Starchild skull, once touted as a human-alien hybrid but later proven to be a human child with deformities, to the Atacama Desert adder skeleton, ultimately identified as a human fetus with genetic mutations. These cases highlight how easily unusual biology can be mistaken for something otherworldly. The concept of alien-human hybrids has long circulated in UFO lore and popular culture. Abduction narratives frequently describe genetic experiments, hybrid children, or long-term seeding programs. Scientifically, however, the idea faces near insurmountable barriers. Alien biochemistry would likely be incompatible with human DNA replication, immune systems would reject foreign proteins, and evolutionary divergence would prevent stable gene integration. A milder, more plausible notion comes from panspermia, the theory that life on Earth might have originated from extraterrestrial microbes that carried genetic material across space. But that's far removed from aliens deliberately modifying our genomes. To move from speculation to evidence, researchers would need deep coverage whole genome sequencing of affected families, independent replication by multiple labs, and strict contamination controls. Any novel sequences would then have to be compared across all known Earth species to see if they truly have no terrestrial relatives, an immense undertaking that has never yet revealed anything beyond Earth-based biology. Dr. Rempel's proposal of alien DNA hidden in the human genome is bold, intriguing, and, for now, entirely unverified. It joins a long line of extraordinary hypotheses that flirt with the boundary between science and science fiction. Still, it reminds us how much of our own genetic code remains mysterious. Whether those mysteries are cosmic in origin or simply the limits of current science, the fascination endures.
Now, this clip right here touches on a subject that I actually look at myself from time to time. Not the whole certain people, alien DNA, and the whole hybrid human thing. No, I'm not talking about that. But the thought process that they talk about with organic life on Earth being of otherworldly components. So, like, what they were talking about in the one part of it is when the asteroids that struck Earth back in the time, way, I'm not talking about dinosaur time. I'm talking about when Earth was first formed. It was, as science shows and everything like that, it was first formed as a basically molten lava pit. Waters were boiling and everything. No life. It was just boiling water. That's all Earth was. Magma, boiling water, and everything. And basically, tons of asteroids came through because, it just came through and happenstance knocked around Earth enough where it could be slightly further away in its orbit from the sun to be able to kind of cool off enough where, everything cooled down. It started forming land masses, and the water was more of a suitable temperature of creating and housing life. They called the beginning of it a primordial soup. I know some of y'all probably heard about that and everything. But what the major takeaway from this is that scientists realize when they look back at rocks and things of that nature from these time frames, especially like when you have eruptions and things like that, to get out more of the mineral deposits that are in the earth, they see that there was nothing that could really hold life forms, no sustainability. And basically when these asteroids hit, there was foreign alien particles on these asteroids that helped create life, because they had certain components of elements within these asteroids that made it more compatible for the start of life and things like that. And that's how basically the evolutionary theory of life on Earth itself began. Now, for the the alien DNA matter that they found in these 11 families out of 500 and something. That right there, that's normally what they would be like, more of a small percentage anomaly that would come up. And it's probably more to degradation of DNA samples and possibly contamination, because it happens. Let's be 100% honest. There's a lot of times in forensics where you do have, even though these people, they do these jobs all the time, if somebody doesn't collect something properly, there's always room for contamination. I mean, that's how a lot of times where some of these people who have been convicted of crimes are all of a sudden exonerated from these crimes, because there was some sort of contamination process when the situation happened in the collection of evidence. So, I know I'm not anything on the crime. This is Paranormal channel, but I'm just giving a brief description on how something like that, a contamination, can happen. And I mean, it don't even have to happen within the collection of said DNA, whether in forms of evidence or even in like what they were talking about, where people do like 23andMe or Ancestry.com, where they send their DNA sample and they find out what countries and everything they're from originally, like their ancestors and everything. But it could even happen in the lab, where you might have temperature malfunctions, or even somebody who wasn't quite paying attention to what was going on and might have accidentally dropped something. I mean, it happens. We're human. Things happen where and it's an accident. There's nothing that's really, it's not being done malevolently and everything like that. So, I don't really see it in a sense of if this is being alien abductions and hybrid children and anything like that. If we did find any alien anomalies, it would come up more in a sense of, like I was saying before, the whole theory where, when the world was primordial soup and the asteroids came. So, really, this one, it's an interesting piece, believe me, and it's really something you can go and have a nice long conversation with somebody about and have a nice little debate. But other than that, I thought it was interesting. It's not exactly part of a reaction that we would normally have, because most of this stuff deals with video clips in terms of the paranormal or supernatural, even, alien encounter type things where it's videos. This is more of a postulation type thing, and I thought it was pretty interesting. So, you know what? Let's move on to the next one, though, okay?
What you're seeing isn't a glitch in the Matrix.
A short clip uploaded to TikTok by Mr. Aviator 1 has stunned viewers after appearing to show a Kuwait Airways Boeing 777 suspended mid-air.
This is the power of optics, wind, and perfect timing. A real-world illusion that makes a 300-ton aircraft look like it's floating.
The eerie footage quickly spread across social media, with many calling it a glitch in the Matrix. At first glance, it genuinely looks as though time has stopped. The engine's still, the wings steady, the plane frozen in place. But despite its unsettling appearance, experts say the effect is most likely caused by parallaxing, an optical illusion that occurs when two moving objects are filmed from a third moving perspective. In this case, the TikTok user was filming from a vehicle moving at just the right speed and direction to match the aircraft's forward motion relative to the background. It's a strange and captivating illusion, one that plays tricks on our depth perception and feeds our fascination with glitches in everyday life. While there's nothing supernatural about it, the frozen aircraft remains a perfect example of how the ordinary can still look extraordinary when viewed from the right angle.
Now, if any of y'all been watching any of my videos for a while, y'all would know I had something similar. I discussed something similar on another clip that was in one of my videos. And it was a woman who was riding in a car. And it was like an ice flow and everything like that, and it looked like everything stopped, then it moved and stopped and moved. This is what I was describing. You're at a certain speed, and you're moving in one direction, and something's moving in another direction at another speed. It's going to get to the point where one looks as if it's standing still while you're continuing to move. And that a lot of times is what these like so-called like glitch in the matrix type thing videos that we see. People are moving, and then the other item that's supposed to be moving and everything, it's not moving. Case in point, this plane, it looks as if it's just sitting there in air, and there's no way a plane can do that. There was a few military planes that can hover, but you would have heard a lot louder sound, and you would notice there's like, the propellers and things like that would actually, cause them to, you would be able to see movement of those. So you would know that it's really just hovering like a helicopter and things like that. But I like how this one actually went into the explanation more, and that this can kind of clear up any misconceptions that people have in videos of like glitch in the matrix type things. Because honestly, something frozen in place, especially when another object is moving, like case in point, the person who's filming is moving and the object is stationary in the sky, like a bird or a plane. Now I'm not gonna say Superman, but anyway, but y'all see what I'm trying to get at, right? That ice flow on those rivers that in that one video that I had about a few months back, and then this plane, these are perfect examples of this effect where you're going in one direction, the other object is going in the opposite direction, and the speeds in which both are moving are different. So it's going to look like this one is moving, or one's not moving at all, I should say, while the other person is just continuing to move on. Now that I know there was always a logical explanation for things like that in these videos. When I think glitch in the matrix, I think more of like, okay, a person has an animal in the home, right? And they have a videotape of said animal, like you got a security camera or something. And like say one animal, take an example, a cat. The cat is sleeping on the coffee table. This is the only cat they own. And y'all have seen it in regular videos where this is the only cat they own. And then suddenly you have the cat sleeping on the coffee table. But then also you see another cat walk by. Now that would be more of like a glitch in the matrix type kind of weird situation. Maybe something like interdimensional type stuff, which would be a glitch in the matrix, But I think of more terms of something like that as opposed to a plane standing still in the air while somebody's like traveling by car. There's always an rational explanation for something like that. All right, so let's move on to the next one.
In a quiet corner of eastern Flanders, Belgium, a strange piece of UFO history has vanished without warning. A roadside monument near the village of Lottenhula, once marking a spectacular 1955 UFO sighting, has been removed at the request of the witness's family. Its disappearance has left locals divided and reignited speculation about what really happened that night nearly 70 years ago. The memorial stood beside the E40 motorway for over 2 decades. It was erected in 2004 at the urging of Marin van der Kruisen, who claimed to have seen 5 enormous silver discs hovering in formation above the area on July 21, 1955, Belgium's National Day. At the time, he was an 18-year-old paratrooper and amateur astronomer riding with his father when they stopped to watch a roadside crowd pointing skyward. According to van der Kruisen, the craft were at least 100 meters across and remained visible for 10 minutes before vanishing in an instant. In later years, local authorities granted permission for a marble plaque to be placed on the spot, complete with Van der Kruisen's name, a depiction of the formation, and a photo from the time of the event. The site soon became a quiet pilgrimage point for UFO enthusiasts and curiosity seekers. It even featured in a Belgian guidebook of strange places, listed among the nation's 50 most peculiar landmarks. In July 2025, on the 70th anniversary of the sighting, the stone was freshly restored, only to be removed months later. Local reports suggest the memorial was taken down in late September or early October 2025 after Van der Kruisen's family, through a lawyer, demanded its immediate removal. They reportedly threatened legal action if the municipality did not comply. Officials later confirmed that the family no longer wished to be associated with the event. The municipality carried out the removal quietly, without public notice. The monument's current location remains unknown, and attempts by journalists and UFO researchers to reach the family have been met with silence. The disappearance has frustrated Belgian UFO researchers and folklorists. Frederick Dallaire, head of the National UFO Hotline, called it a loss for Belgian folklore. Others, like author Camille de Bruyne, lamented the erasure of a local curiosity that symbolised one man's lifelong conviction. For many locals, the story had become a piece of community lore, a tale passed down as both mystery and myth. The family's motives remain private, but several possibilities have been raised. Some believe they simply grew tired of the attention and constant visitors. Others suspect emotional or reputational reasons, a wish to move on from a story that had overshadowed their relative's legacy. There could also be mundane legal issues over land rights or maintenance responsibilities. Of course, a few in the UFO community suspect something deeper, quiet pressure to downplay or erase a famous sighting from the public record. With the memorial gone, only the story remains, a tale of 5 silver discs gliding above Flanders on a summer evening long ago. For believers, its removal feels like an attempt to bury the unexplained. For skeptics, it's the natural fading of a legend that outlived its witness.
And with this last clip, this is the end of this episode, or video, however you want to call it right now. Now, there's really not much to speculate on or, try to debunk from this right here. It's an interesting story, and it's kind of even more so interesting is considering the fact that around that time is where the height of UFO sightings and everything had happened. So I just, I think it's interesting that, there's this one here as well as several others within state, in the United States that actually had occurred during this time frame. So I always find that a little bit interesting, especially after the fact that this is after World War II, several years after Hiroshima and Nagasaki situation. That's all I'm going to say on that. I'm not going to go too much into that. Y'all know if y'all know. But, I find that interesting that we have so much sightings several years after these incidents had occurred. It's something to think about anyway, but it has nothing to do with this video and everything. My thoughts on it is probably that, the family was like, okay, you know what? This happened over 70 years ago. I really don't know the full story anymore. Nobody really remembers everything precisely. I mean, I'm pretty sure they heard the stories, but it also changes throughout the years, I'm sure. And they probably just wanted to have more time and peace for their family as opposed to having people constantly coming over and asking for the story or, any little things that maybe had some sort of memorabilia for that time frame, So I can understand what the family would want, and I just say, we keep with the stories. Stories have been around for centuries. That's actually how a lot of our history and a lot of folklore has been passed down, is through word of mouth. We didn't need grand monuments or even small monuments. Case in point with this one right here. We didn't need those to keep a story alive back in the day. We had it passed down through generations and generations. And sometimes I feel like storytelling such as that has gone by the wayside here now in our more, technologically advanced timeline that we are in now. So I just, I feel like we should keep stories alive by continuing to tell them. And that should be what this has. It doesn't need a monument. It just needs people to continue telling his story. And I feel like that might be the best way for everybody. But then again, that's just my personal opinion. Let me know what y'all think in the comments below. And in general, let me know what y'all think about the whole episode. I mean, there's a lot that we've had going on in all the episodes. Just leave a comment and let me know what y'all think. We've been through a lot of these episodes, and like I know, I want to hear what y'all think. What's y'all's opinion? I mean, I can tell y'all my opinion. Still, I'm blue in the face. Let me know what y'all think in the comments below. And also, do not forget, if you want more of this sort of videos, let me know by liking and subscribing to this channel. Like I say before, there is a lot of other things that I want to get in with y'all, little stories of my own personal experience. And I mean, I haven't heard anything yet from any of y'all about my other idea I had running through my brain. I mean, I can do pretty much whatever I want within YouTube's terms of services on this channel, but hey, leave a comment if y'all want to hear anything about cryptids from the South that are a little they're not mainstream like some of the bigger ones, like the Beast of Bray Road out in the Midwest, or Dogman in Michigan, or even Mothman in PA. The Jersey Devil. I mean, there's a lot of ones that are real famous. Everybody knows of Bigfoot, Jersey Devil, Mothman, things like that. But there are a few other ones that people don't really know, and I know a few things about some of them, like from Cherokee Legends, Spearfinger, the Wampus Cat. There's even some things from down south that I know, more further down south, as opposed to more of the mountainous areas of North Georgia, Tennessee, North Carolina, and things like that with the Cherokee Nation. I do know a few other legends from the Seminole tribes and things like that. Let me know if y'all want to hear some more of the less glorified cryptids, if I think that's the best way I could put it. I mean, I even know some of the legends from the Appalachian, like the Knot Deers, the Black-Eyed Children, and things like that. I mean, let me know in the comments below if y'all want to hear anything from those, maybe a little bit more descriptions and my take on what some of them might possibly be, and maybe what other more like famous cryptids that they could be actually closely related to. Let me know in the comments below if any of y'all want to hear any of those type of things, because I'm just right now just doing some of these reactions for the Slapped Ham, and also little things along the way of other things. Like I said, I'm going to tell you some of my stories of the paranormal. And like I told y'all before in some of these videos, take them with a grain of salt. I mean, these are the truths as I remember them. And I have a pretty long list of supernatural or unexplainable occurrences that I've had at my time. But you know what? I've done rambled and talked y'all's ears off long enough. Like I said before, like and subscribe, y'all, and I hope to see y'all soon. Take care.